Hi everybody and welcome to Observing with Webb for July of 2015. July is not a very eventful month in terms of observing. It's because we really just have Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn out and really nothing else going on other than a blue moon, which isn't all that exciting, honestly. However, it is a really exciting month if you're into space exploration at all, in the sense that we have the New Horizons spacecraft, which is going to reach Pluto, and technically not reach, it's going past it really, really fast, but it's going to get the best pictures we've ever gotten. It's really, really amazing what they're doing. We'll get some basic information back the next morning, but it's going to take like months for the rest of the information to get back. So, but just really, really cool, amazing. It's been in not orbit. It's been going out there for like 9 years. It's insane, really cool. But anyway, I digress. As far as observing, let's talk about the planets first. And then we'll use the moon as a sort of guidepost after that. So as far as the planets go, if you're looking just after sunset, technically you can see Jupiter and Venus off in the west over here and Saturn over here, but I'm going to just start with Jupiter and Venus. So if I zoom in the west, okay, and I'm seeing Jupiter and Venus, now you can already tell that it's kind of dusky. Like you won't be able to see them for long. And what you'll notice is, let's go 10 p.m. for the next couple of nights. Let's start on July 1st. July 1st, they're pretty close, and then each day they get further and further away from each other, and they're getting lower in the sky. So they're getting harder to see and lower in the sky. So then you have to go out a little bit earlier to try to see them. And they get further apart and lower in the sky until, if you go to the 31st, I mean, they're like right next to the sun. So they're really not even able to be seen anymore. In fact, Venus isn't even there, at least in any way that we can see it. So, yeah, Jupiter and Venus. And let me just rewind. So if I rewind the clock, there you go. That's mid-July. Now, the cool part about this is that you can see, first of all, if you look at Jupiter, you can see the moons if you have a telescope or a set of binoculars. But more importantly, let's look at Venus and center on that, because if we zoom in, let's just go to the 1st of July and zoom in on Venus, you can see it's got a sort of crescent shape. And as the month goes by, Venus actually looks like it's getting bigger because it's coming around in its orbit and it's getting closer to the Earth, and it gets more and more of a crescent shape until the end of the month. It's very, very crescent and very, very big. So it's very neat to see in binoculars or a telescope. Okay, so rewind. Let's go to July 1st again. So there you go. You've got Venus and Jupiter. Oh, and by the way, on the 18th, they will be very close to the moon. Right here, you'll see Venus right above and Jupiter off to the right on the 18th. So if you're having trouble finding them, the 18th might be a good day, although I'm guessing Venus is probably brighter than the moon. So anyway, Venus and Jupiter off in the west. I think I might have just said east, but I meant west, either way. But then again, there's also Saturn out there, which you can see right around sunset, okay, off in the south. And then what's going to happen is it's going to set. It's going to move toward the southwest, and it's going to set somewhere around 1:30 in the morning, something like that. And of course, Saturn is always super cool because with Saturn, you can see the rings, and they're very, 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 very wide right now. So it's a good time to take a look at them, get a picture of them. And that's Saturn. You won't be able to see it for much of the time. Now, if you're wondering why I left Mars and Mercury out, well, can't even really see them even around sunrise or even around the end of the month. Mars kind of gets up there, but it's really tough to see, especially since it's dim. So Mercury and Mars, don't worry about them this month. Nothing really to see. Right, let's move on to the events. Let's start with, let's go back to July 1st, and let's find the moon. which right around sunset is up off in the southeast. You'll see it's a full moon right there. There's a full moon for July 1st. I think some places said it was 2nd. I think it depends on the actual time. But July 1st is what it will look like. Sorry, this is what it will look like on July 1st. Summer brain is taking over. And that's visible all night. The entire night you can see it, pretty much. And then what's going to happen is, and let me just move this across. Let's say it's about 2:30 in the morning. Every night it's going to move a little bit more toward the east until July 8th, where it will be a half moon, or last quarter moon. And that's visible only from about midnight. Let's rewind the clock. Okay, about 12:30, and it'll be visible all the way into the morning. And in fact, even when it's bright out, you might be able to actually see it. Then again, nothing really happens for the next couple days. Let's see, the next event. Oh, the moon's getting lower and lower in the sky. Whoa, hold on. July. Let's just go to the 14th. On the 14th, let's go sunrise. The moon's way over here. It's very, very thin. That's when Pluto is going to get its visit from New Horizons. And then the next day, boom, new moon. Can't see it, darkest skies. So that's when the moon switches over to being an evening western object. So let's look to the west around sunset. And oh, there's Venus and Jupiter. But take a look. That's on the 15th. That's the night of the new moon. Take a look 3 days later. Oh, there's a crescent moon right near Venus. And so you'll be able to see, again, Venus and the moon right nearby and Jupiter off to the right. Then every night the moon will get, as you can see, a little bit higher and thicker in the sky until the 24th. Whoop, it's out of my sight. The 24th, that's when it becomes a first quarter moon. You'll see it anywhere from sunset to midnight, maybe even in the afternoon. And then, oh, yeah, the next night, silly me, the next night the moon is going to be near Saturn. Okay, not incredibly close, but close enough where this is as close as it's going to be for the month. So if you're looking for Saturn and you're having trouble, go out on the night of the 25th, and the gibbous moon will be out there, and Saturn is a little bit below and 4 degrees to the left. And what's going to happen is throughout the night, the moon and Saturn are going to go and set around like 1 a.m. Then what's going to happen is throughout the next couple nights, the moon is going to get fuller and fuller and fuller until July 31st. You get the second full moon of the month, and that is known by some definitions as a blue moon, being the second full moon of a month, although there are some other definitions which go out and take a look. It's interesting, but I always forget what those definitions are. So now that I have the video up here, let me talk about the constellations real quick that you might just see. I'll go for July 15th, and let's say you look straight up. If you could look straight up, which most people don't really look straight up when they actually look straight up. In our STEM class, the teachers, we got together and we noticed most people are actually looking about 80 degrees up, but that's because their necks don't go perfectly back. Anyway, so just after sunset, let's say 8:30, and let's make that p.m. 8:30 p.m. In fact, let's get a little bit darker. You can see Bootes, Hercules, and Corona Borealis. Okay. But if you're waiting, let's say around midnight, you'll be able to see Lyra, Cygnus, and Aquila. And those are the summer constellations. They each have a very bright star. Lyra has the bright star Vega right here. Cygnus has the bright star Deneb, and Aquila has the bright star Altair. And so these three bright stars are significantly brighter than the other ones, which you can see on here, being that they are the bigger circles. They form what's called the summer triangle right here. And off to the left, or to the east, is Delphinus, a really neat little constellation, which kind of looks like a dolphin. And the Milky Way, if it's dark enough, you can actually see the Milky Way going through Cygnus and Aquila. It's not the brightest part of the Milky Way, but it's definitely a part of the Milky Way. Let's see. Oh, and if you're waiting, you'll see Lyra and Cygnus kind of float by, and then in the morning before the sun rises, you'll be able to see the Great Square of Pegasus with Andromeda up here, maybe even catch a glimpse of the Andromeda Galaxy. Now, for constellation tips, if you're looking for, let me rewind to, let's say 11 o'clock. If you're looking for the summer triangle, you want to look more toward the east-southeast, okay? And you'll see Lyra, Cygnus, and Aquila there, okay? And you'll notice that throughout the night, they move across the sky toward the south. And that's because they're the summer constellations. They'll be straight up above us around midnight. Also, there are, what was I going to say? The spring constellations, Bootes, Virgo, Leo, Corona Borealis, and Hercules. One way you could find these is actually look to the north, okay? And you know the northern sky probably. You know that there's the Big Dipper and Ursa Major right here, and throughout the night they spin around. Well, what you can do is you can use the Big Dipper. It's easy to find. It's one of the easiest asterisms to find, these 7 bright stars. And what you can do is you can follow this arc of the handle and follow that arc to Arcturus, which is the brightest star in Bootes. In fact, let me rewind the clock to a little bit earlier in the night. You can then also take this little arc to Arcturus and then speed on to Spica, which is the brightest star in Virgo. I think of it as the Dickinson Mermaid. It just kind of looks a lot like the Dickinson Mermaid, but it's Virgo. But you can find it that way. Let's see. Oh, also, you can look to the left of Bootes and you'll see Corona Borealis. And to the left or up east of that is Hercules right there. And lastly, no, you know what? I think I'll skip that one for now. But anyway, that is the night sky for July of 2015. I hope you get to see what New Horizons sends back. And I wish you very clear, dark skies for the month of July.